Hello, everybody. It is your Professor Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Age of Sigmar video. In this AoS 101 class, we're going to be doing some office hours here. We're going to be leaning into that Professor moniker I got going for me. And also, if you didn't realize what my actual thing was, because I don't need those headphones on, because we have the technology. That was the old me. This is the new me, but that's also the old me in the logo. It's my hat, Shelly. You get the idea. It's cool. A friend of mine, Doc King, made it for me. Great guy. His art's beautiful. But we're not here to gush about that. We are here to talk about questions. We have answers to questions. People have been asking me throughout Twitter, Discords, videos, and also don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a question in the comments that you want answered if you want more videos like this. Now, we're building a community. Maybe y'all actually like these types of videos. I don't know, so we're trying something new. This is exciting. Are you excited, chat? All my students. Alright, question number 1. Help, Rocco. I need to learn how to play Age of Sigmar with an easy-to-use army because the game is so complicated. Alarms are going off everywhere. What do we recommend? So, I would love to answer that with how to Gargant. Yeah, the actual video we're going to be doing today. Yep, that is a Kraken Eater. All nice and happy there. Even just brushed his tooth. And that is a dead Tzeentch army because guess what? Boys and girls, in 3rd edition, the Sons of Behemat are actually looking really good. So, who are the Sons of Behemat for our purposes? Because we're not a lore channel. They are a really strong army right now that is easy to pilot, where you, as the player, don't have to micromanage your army that much. The models are huge because they're giants that get rephrased as Gargants for GW's IP, whatever. So they're actually kind of easier to paint in the sense that all the small details that are normally on a model are, now it's 4 models, they're all just blown up really big. Lore-wise, they're giants, stomping around everywhere. Find a lore channel. We're not here for a history lesson. We're here to learn how to play them. Alright. So let's go to some strengths here. Again, it's a very small model range because we don't talk about the Forge World Gargant. Okay, so there's not a lot of rules for us to learn. Most games you're going to have 3, maybe 4 War Scrolls you'll have to have on hand to reference for the army. And then whatever your sub-faction is. You know, there are 3 good and usable sub-factions. They're tribes here. In 1, the Taker tribe has been the standout recently. If hordes become good again, my favorite, the Stompa tribe, will be out there just wrecking people. And the Breaker tribe that's there is still good if there's a lot of defensible terrain being used in your local meta. So the other thing here again is ease of play. You know, your hero phase is just cool. I get a command point, I do one ability and move on. Where some armies like Lumineth Realm Lords or Seraphon have an hour-long hero phase even for the good players. And then if you forget the buffs to go on what unit, you mess up in deployment. You know, it's a pain. But this is just literally, you probably are putting down just 4 models, maybe 8, maybe 6, and you move on with your life. And the thing here is, in general, they count for a lot of extra models. Because there's so few models in the army, they have bonuses to capturing objectives. And those bonuses don't go away until the model is dead. And that Taker sub-faction there boosts that number, which is why it's so popular. And because like a Mega Gargant is 35 wounds with a 4-up save, and then you can give it an artifact for a ward save from the Amulet of Destiny, let's say. That is very hard to shift, and most armies won't be able to do it, which is why they're DPS check the army. And they're generally easy to transport, because you only have a few models you need to move. Alright. So, heroes, we have the Kraken Eater, the Gatebreaker, and the War Stompa Mega Gargants. They have mercenary versions, which is Bundo Whalebiter, Big Drog Fort Kicka, and One-Eyed Grunnock, which is not centered. Okay, what? But yeah, that's the thing. These are 3 of the 4 models, and they also double for their mercenary versions. Within Suns, I'm not really big on the mercenaries. There's some cool builds for different abilities they could do, but you don't really need it. Because if it's a mercenary, you're not getting the big count as extra models rule. You get the one from the General's Handbook, so it's a monster and counts as 5. Instead of potentially 20 or 30 or 45, whatever it is. You get the idea. Most people aren't bringing enough models in their whole army to outscore one of these Mega Gargants on one objective. The beauty of this. Alright, so why do all the pictures have a white background? You may be asking yourself, dear viewer. Well, these were stolen from, borrowed from Games Workshop's website and are fair use. And what's this is a weird question. Moving on here. Alright, Battleline units. So all of the Mega Gargants that aren't mercenaries also have the leader role, battle line role, the behemoths, and then we've got the Man Crusher Mega Gargant, which can be taken as a mob of 3 models or a single model. So again, there's your 4th model in the range. It's the old Ale Guzzler Gargant. They reskinned it a bit with some new rules and a cool name, and it does a lot of damage, actually, and it's nice. Rocco, you may be asking yourself, what's a good list for this army even look like? Got you. Because I'm your boy and I got you back. So this is a Taker Tribe list. And yes, I'm really proud of myself that I got the clip art hat onto the Mega Gargant. So the grand strategy here is Beastmaster, which is just have a behemoth in your army. Or monster, really. Stay alive until the end of the game. That's your whole army. You have 1 model left. You did it. You scored 3 points. Inspired for +1 to wound. And then this is because you're a Taker Tribe, you need a Kraken Eater as your general. I like the command trait Extremely Intimidating for -1 to be hit. In melee, I believe in an aura. The artifact's Glowy Lantern to make it a wizard. It knows to spell Flaming Weapons because a damage 3 club with like 8 or 10 attacks, whatever the heck it has, is really nice. And then our more combat-y Mega Gargant, here's the Gatebreaker, so that's going to get the Amulet of Destiny, because that's going to be public enemy number 1 to most people, is killing that, because that will table armies on its own. So keeping it alive longer will be great. And then we've got 3 individual Man Crusher Gargants, and this is going to sound weird, but there actually are screens in this army. And what I want is 1 Man Crusher to be with a Mega Gargant. So I want them either to be the frontal screen, so my opponent can't just focus down a Mega Gargant a turn, because that's, the weakness here. If they pass the DPS check, they get in. So I'm not going to let them actually do the DPS check with this kind of build. We've got a Battle Regiment. We've got a Bosses of the Stomp for the extra artifact for the Amulet. Again, 1995 points, 3 drops, 141 wounds, and 6 models. Yeah, this is nice. And again, that 4 Mega Gargants is a valid list. There are lists that have those as a pack of Man Crushers. People bring Man Crusher mob, 3 singles, and a couple megas. There's only so many combinations, and the best part about this army is they all generally work. Which is why this is really nice and user-friendly here. Alright, so what about Cragnose? Yep. I don't like him. For personal reasons. The lore. His model is great. His rules are fantastic. If he could fly, he'd be perfect. But there's a spell for that. And he trucks monsters. Sons of Behemoth are actually scared of him as he's trying to peek in there, because he, on his own, will mess up a Mega Gargant and kill it if given the chance. But Looking at that, I mean, that's a face only a mother could love. And we're pro dragon in this household, so Rocco, everyone and their grandmother is now using Sons of Behemoth. How do I beat them? Well, dear viewer, glad you asked. All right, so how to Gargant. The flip side of this. Also, if you're the Gargant player, these are things you need to watch out for. This is one of those things that gets lost in some of the tactical discussions of all this. Whether it was like my deployment video and some of the other things I do is, if you're the person doing these things, great. If you're the person trying to stop these things, you still need to be watching this video because you're going to see me list out all the strengths and all the reasons why we do stuff for you to come up with new plans on how to beat it. And more specifically, if you are going to be the Gargant player after this, you still need to pay attention for a little bit because you're going to... How does my army get beat? Better to learn here than in a tournament. Alright, weaknesses to a Sons of Behemoth army is physical board control. Now, objectives you control, you just toe tap onto an objective, you count as 35, 50, 100 models. It doesn't matter. Until your model dies. But, if we went back to our list example there, the whole point was there really aren't screens in this army because there just aren't models for it. So you don't really stop people's movement through your own board control. You get flanked. If there is an army like, say, my Living City army that loves to come in from deep striking, Stormcast can do this. Heck, Beast of Chaos come in from table edges still. And you will not be able to play the objectives and deny them their place of where they want to come out from deep striking. You just won't. You do not have the physical model count to do that. Also, generally, your best save is a 4-up save. You know, and with how save stacking works, you can get it to be a 3-up save. And then you can throw on the Amulet of Destiny there for 5-up ward, but so you're a 3-up, 5-up on a bunch of wounds, which is great. But if anyone's bringing Rend, you're back to your 4-up save or worse. So that whole DPS check thing can be answered. And a lot of popular builds, again, you can't screen with the 4 megas. There's just nothing there. And most people don't even realize that the megas, if you're doing 4 megas, 2 of them need the buddy system. And you can't because of the board control problem. So unless all the objectives are in the middle of the board and there are no terrain pieces to stop you from moving around everywhere, you're a little bit screwed. Also, you hate debuffs. Listen, this army is not a magic heavy army by any means. That was a plus. Your hero phases go easy. It's I get my command points, movement phase. Great. A lot of debuffs come from spells. A lot of people are going to have better casters and unbinders than you. So if you really need that flaming weapons or you're trying to put on a mystic shield for yourself, there's a chance it's just not going to happen unless you kill the wizards that your opponent brought. And they're going to be throwing up like -1 to hit, minus, like have your distance to move, take these 6 mortal wounds when you charge. Weird stuff is going to be coming out. You're going to learn the whole spell lore of everything in this game because you don't have one to pay attention to yourself. And you're going to find that your army just hates debuffs in general. And again, magic defenses are weak. Sure, the Mega Gargants cannot be like outright killed by like abilities or spells that say, yeah, just kill me. Man Crushers, though, can be hand dusted pretty easily. And again, if someone's gonna like take a Nagash and do a bunch of the Mortal Wound, Arcane Bolts to come in close to then like machine gun you for like 8d3 damage, you're gonna take all that damage. And it's gonna be a rough time. And again, what you need to do here is kill 1 Mega Gargant a turn. Pass that DPS check. That is, you need to kill 35 wounds of stuff. That could be 3 of the Man Crushers or 1 Mega Gargant. It needs to die. Because if you kill all 3 babies, there are no screens from the list that I posted. If you kill a Mega Gargant, like that was a 4-drop. They're going first because they're a Gargant player. They're going to go walk up on all the objectives and say, come and fight me. Great. It means bottom of 1. You kill a Mega Gargant. If this is the 4 Gargant build, that's a quarter of their army dead. You double turned. You kill another Mega Gargant and wound another one. That's half their army now dead, and at least one of the other Gargants, because you know how AoS works, splash damage is everywhere. The other 2 aren't feeling so hot with half the army dead. And with how many objectives are scattered throughout the different battle plans, they're not going to be able to walk around and take all the objectives. And then you win. So again, tactics on how to do all this. I'm going to keep hammering this home. Debuffing spells. Kill the Mega Gargant. Don't give them space to put down their models. This is a fun bit. So, the Mega Gargants have a rule called long shanks, where basically in the movement phase they fly. They can move over buildings and stuff. Depending on when the FAQ is or what it is. Sometimes it's over anything, but you can't charge over stuff. Yeah, I'm just being real simple with this here. And you can walk over endless spells. You cannot end on top of an endless spell. You cannot end on top of opposing units. You can't end on top of your own units. So, if you can clog up the board with a lot of minimum sized units, a bunch of 10 dudes, 1 wound each, 80 points, think skinks. You throw in some endless spells out there that can take up space, like Gravetide is a good one. They can walk over them, sure, but they can't end the movement on them. And they have big frickin' bases themselves, these Mega Gargants. So if they can't put down their stuff, you're safe. You don't care that they killed the 10 schmucks you sent up there. They were gonna die anyway. But if you can make it so the Mega Gargant can't even walk onto the objective to toe tap to count as 125 models or whatever ridiculousness it is, that's great. And also another thing too is if megas are really popular in Europe, Sons of Behemoth in general are popular in your local meta, eventually. So here's the thing. All right. Metas shift, and this is the whole, you get to see the guy on top. I've had other videos where I have to find what a meta is exactly, but you're going to see that Sons of Behemoth are winning every tournament. Eventually, the players in your area are going to go like, you know what? I'm Deepkin. I'm going to play Dom Hain, the monster hunting sub-faction, where I get to reroll wounds against monsters all the time. And I'm just going to straight up kill them. And people will eventually just switch over to these monster hunting sub-factions or bring monster hunting units if they have a large enough roster. And they're going to counter you with this. And that's fine, because some of this with Age of Sigmar, the meta is so spread out in such a healthy spot. That's great. But if you know what your local guys normally bring when they keep winning the tournaments, people are going to start taking notice and start bringing the stuff that beats that. And that's honestly where the meta is the healthiest, because then it's not always one faction winning. People are trying to go through their battle tomes to see what tech piece they could bring out. And then let's say that there are no the Sons of Behemoth player that won all the stuff. They decided to bring Nighthaunt the next tournament. Then all of a sudden, you didn't know. And then your monster hunting army is a little bit caught out there in the middle. And that's what makes events so cool, is we don't know what the other person's necessarily going to bring beforehand. But if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, people are going to eventually catch on. And that's why it's my final tip. If that person is just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep playing them until you beat me, beat them. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I thought this was a fun video to do. I did this in a pretty good time frame here, for a normal, what we do here for our classes. And again, if you like it, leave a like. Leave a comment for your questions so we can do more of these in the future. And as I like to see at the end of all of our episodes here, and all of our classes, and everything, class dismissed.